From mind-bending sci-fi to unexpected twists, this list has it all. These are the 10 most frustrating cliffhangers in movies and series. And this is nerdsection.com. Number 10, The Cabin in the Woods. In The Cabin in the Woods, a group of college friends head out for a weekend getaway in a remote cabin, only to find themselves caught in a nightmarish scenario. As they explore the cabin, they unwittingly awaken ancient, malevolent forces. The film, which is a clever deconstruction of the horror genre, takes a darkly comedic twist as it reveals that their every move is being manipulated by a shadowy organization controlling supernatural creatures. The cliffhanger of The Cabin in the Woods is a wild ride. Just as the survivors seem to be making their final stand against the rampaging monsters, the organization's plans are thrown into chaos. The movie ends with the revelation that the whole world might be at risk if the ancient gods are not appeased, leaving the audience on edge with no resolution to the looming apocalypse. The reason behind this cliffhanger is rooted in the film's meta nature. The Cabin in the Woods is a satire that plays with horror conventions, and this unresolved ending drives home the message that even the most well-planned horror scenarios can spiral out of control, with potentially catastrophic consequences. This cliffhanger not only leaves you questioning the fate of humanity, but also reinforces the film's critique of genre tropes and expectations. Number 9, Southland. Southland, the gritty, intense drama series set in Los Angeles, offered a raw look into the lives of cops and detectives working the mean streets. The show was known for its realistic portrayal of crime and law enforcement, drawing viewers deeply into its world. As the series progressed, it built up to a jaw-dropping cliffhanger in its Season 4 finale. In this episode, the team faces a brutal shootout that leaves several lives hanging in the balance. The tension is palpable as you're left uncertain about who will survive the chaos. The cliffhanger came as a shock because it left multiple major characters' fates unresolved. The series was abruptly canceled after this episode, leaving fans hanging with their questions about whether beloved characters would make it out alive and what would become of the unresolved storylines. The reason behind this cliffhanger was largely due to the unexpected cancellation of the show. The network decided to pull the plug on Southland just as it was ramping up its intensity, leaving fans with a bitter taste and a slew of unanswered questions. This abrupt ending turned what could have been a gripping resolution into an unforgettable, frustrating cliffhanger. Number 8, Deadwood. In Deadwood, the plot revolves around the gritty, raw life of a 19th century American frontier town. The series paints a vivid picture of the turbulent times as it follows historical and fictional characters navigating lawlessness, ambition, and violence in the rapidly growing settlement. The cliffhanger in question hits at the end of Season 3. The season finale leaves fans hanging with a series of intense and unresolved plot lines. The most gripping moment involves the fate of Al Swearingen, the rough-and-tumble owner of the Gem Saloon, who has just survived a brutal assassination attempt. The season ends with his condition precariously uncertain, and the town's future teetering on the edge of chaos. The cause of this cliffhanger was both creative and unfortunate. The show's creators intended to wrap up the storylines in a 4th season. However, due to budget constraints and declining viewership, HBO canceled the series before it could conclude. This abrupt end left fans with a slew of unresolved questions and an intense yearning for closure that would never come, making the cliffhanger one of TV's most notorious unresolved endings. Number 7, Divergent. In Divergent, the thrilling first installment of Veronica Roth's popular dystopian series, we dive into a future Chicago divided into factions based on virtues. Tris Pryor, the protagonist, discovers she's a divergent, someone who doesn't fit neatly into any one faction. As she uncovers a plot threatening the city's fragile peace, the stakes rise and the tension builds. The cliffhanger hits hard at the end of the second film, Insurgent. Just as Tris and her allies confront the powerful erudite faction and the looming threat of a sinister plan, the movie wraps up with the key antagonist, Janine Matthews, revealing a shocking twist. The ultimate secrets about the society's origins and the truth about the divergence are left tantalizingly incomplete, leaving fans desperate for answers. Unfortunately, Allegiant, the planned conclusion to the trilogy, was met with a disheartening cancellation after its disappointing reception. The planned 4th movie was never made, and the saga ends on an unresolved note. This cliffhanger remains a painful reminder of the series' abrupt end, leaving viewers to wonder about the fate of the characters and the world they inhabit. Number 6, Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. In Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles, The story picks up where the Terminator films left off, diving deeper into the fight against the machines and the struggle to secure a future where humanity survives. The show follows Sarah Connor and her son John as they navigate a world full of Terminators and other threats, all while trying to alter the timeline to prevent Judgment Day. Now, the cliffhanger that left fans reeling occurs at the end of Season 2. The season finale, Born to Run, builds up to an epic showdown between Sarah, John, and the formidable Skynet forces. As the episode concludes, the tension reaches a peak when the Connor family discovers a shocking twist: the existence of a new, advanced Terminator model that is not only a threat, but is also working alongside some of the characters they once trusted. The cause of this cliffhanger is a mix of the show's ambitious plot twists and its untimely cancellation. The producers had set up a dramatic and intriguing climax, but before they could provide any resolution, Fox decided to cancel the series. This left viewers with a tantalizingly unresolved storyline and a desperate yearning for more answers. The sudden end meant that many of the storylines, including the fates of beloved characters and the ultimate showdown with Skynet, were left in limbo, making it one of the most frustrating cliffhangers in TV history. Got a cliffhanger that drove you crazy? Share it in the comments and subscribe to Nerd Section. Now let's dive into Marvel's Agent Carter. Number 5, Marvel's Agent Carter. In Marvel's Agent Carter, Peggy Carter takes center stage in post-World War II America, secretly working for the SSR. The show beautifully combines espionage, action, and the charm of 1940s aesthetics, making Peggy a standout hero in her own right. However, the cliffhanger of Season 2 leaves fans in a state of utter disbelief. Peggy and her allies are on the verge of a major breakthrough, only to be faced with a jaw-dropping twist that involves a shocking betrayal and a dire situation for the main characters. The season ends with Peggy's fate hanging in the balance, as the implications of this cliffhanger send shockwaves through the audience. The reason behind this agonizing cliffhanger is rooted in the unfortunate cancellation of the show. Despite its critical acclaim and dedicated fan base, Agent Carter was not renewed for a third season. This abrupt end left fans yearning for resolution and closure, as the unresolved plot threads left a lingering sense of what could have been. Number 4, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man faces off against a slew of villains, including Electro, the Green Goblin, and the Rhino. This sequel ramps up the action and drama as Peter Parker grapples with the responsibilities of being a hero and the challenges of his personal life. Just when you think the film might reach its conclusion, it throws in a jaw-dropping cliffhanger that leaves fans on the edge of their seats. At the end of the movie, after an epic battle and a heart-wrenching loss, we're introduced to the mysterious appearance of a new character in the shadows, who fans recognize as the Sinister Six lineup. This ominous scene teases a potential future team-up of Spider-Man's greatest foes, suggesting that a grand confrontation is on the horizon. However, this setup for a bigger Spider-Man universe is abruptly cut short. The reason behind this cliffhanger remains tied to the film's disappointing box office performance and the eventual cancellation of the planned sequels. Sony's struggles with the franchise led to a major shift in direction, ultimately leading to the reboot of Spider-Man with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, while this cliffhanger was intended to build excitement for the next chapter, it ended up being a tantalizing glimpse of what could have been. Number 3, Sense8. Sense8 is a groundbreaking sci-fi series that delves into the lives of 8 strangers from around the globe who discover they are mentally and emotionally linked. This connection allows them to share skills, experiences, and knowledge in real time, creating a dynamic and complex narrative. The show's plot intricately weaves together themes of identity, unity, and the power of human connection as these characters navigate their intertwined destinies. The cliffhanger of Sense8 left fans reeling at the end of its second season. In the dramatic finale, the Sense8s are faced with their greatest challenge yet as they prepare for a showdown with the antagonistic organization known as BPO. The stakes are incredibly high, and the threat to their lives and the safety of their loved ones is imminent. Just as the tension peaks and the fight seems inevitable, the screen cuts to black, leaving the fate of the characters and their fight for survival up in the air. The reason behind this shocking cliffhanger was the show's abrupt cancellation by Netflix. Despite a passionate fan base and critical acclaim, Sense8 was canceled after 2 seasons. The cliffhanger left fans devastated, as there was no resolution to the gripping narrative threads that had been built up. The outcry from the audience was immense, leading to a 2-hour finale special, released later, that aimed to provide some closure to the series. However, the unresolved nature of the cliffhanger remains a poignant reminder of what might have been. Number 2, Firefly. Firefly, Joss Whedon's beloved space western, takes place in a future where humanity has colonized distant planets. The series follows the ragtag crew of the spaceship Serenity as they navigate a galaxy filled with danger, intrigue, and occasional moments of humor. The show expertly blends action, drama, and wit, centered around Captain Malcolm Reynolds and his eclectic crew as they struggle to survive while staying just ahead of the law and dealing with the consequences of a war they lost. The cliffhanger in question comes at the end of the 14th episode, Objects in Space. In this episode, the crew of Serenity faces off against a bounty hunter who's set on capturing River Tam, the crew's enigmatic and troubled passenger. As the episode concludes, the crew manages to evade the bounty hunter, but River's unresolved past and the looming threat of the Alliance remain. The final scene leaves fans on the edge of their seats, craving more answers about the mysterious Reavers and River's connection to them. The reason this cliffhanger was never resolved is tied to the unfortunate cancellation of the show. Despite its critical acclaim and dedicated fanbase, Firefly was cut short by Fox after just one season. The abrupt end left many storylines hanging, much to the frustration of fans who had invested deeply in the characters and their journey. The cancellation meant that Whedon's carefully crafted plot lines and character arcs were left unfinished, leaving fans to wonder what could have been. Number 2, TheOA. In TheOA, viewers are taken on a mind-bending journey with Prairie Johnson, a young blind woman who returns after a 7-year disappearance with her sight miraculously restored. As she shares her story of abduction, near-death experiences, and a mysterious dimension, the show weaves an intricate web of sci-fi, mystery, and drama. The cliffhanger at the end of Season 2 leaves us hanging on a literal edge. TheOA, now known as Prairie, and her friends perform a high-stakes dance routine to escape from their parallel universe prison. But just as they're about to make their escape, the screen cuts to black. We are left with more questions than answers. Did they succeed? What happens next? The reason for this maddening cliffhanger is the show's abrupt cancellation by Netflix. After the second season aired, the streaming giant decided not to renew TheOA for a third season. Fans were left in the lurch, deprived of any resolution to the complex narrative threads and theories that had been building. The unresolved cliffhanger remains a painful reminder of the show's untapped potential. If you enjoyed diving into these frustrating cliffhangers, hit that like button and don't miss our next video, From Game to Cinema, 5 Awful Adaptations, for another look at how your favorite franchises sometimes miss the mark. Stay tuned for more nerdy deep dives, and thanks for watching.